Source wanted me to explain how Dancing with Source came into being. The story of my journey, or at least parts of it, is on the website, but this work came into being. It began when I was 8 years old, and it began when I just kept talking to Source and saying, why is life so hard for so many people on earth? I don't understand it, and I hold you accountable. And Source and I had a sequence of dialogues over all the decades of my life. I taught executives in corporations how to connect with Source in the 80s, in the 90s. But the real body of work did not really come into being until the early 2000s. And that is when I had a major change in my life. I unfortunately divorced my second husband, who was the love of my life, and I had to find out who I really was. I had to understand why I was manifesting things in my life that were sad, very, very challenging, and that I felt kept me from fulfilling my life purpose. So I spent a lot of time talking to Source. And I said to Source, I am here to serve. I will do whatever you ask me to do. Whatever you ask me to do. So I would appreciate it if you would be extremely clear with me about what that is. And Source began teaching me the work that I now teach other people how to do, that cleans out our vessel. I remember several years ago, I was downstairs working, and Source started bringing through the congruence process. I didn't have any paper in my office, and I start rooting through the trash can to find a piece of paper I can write this astounding information on. And what it taught, just that simple process, teaches us to identify what we're congruent with that is of the light, and what we're congruent with that is of the shadow, that's going to stop us from being who we really are, stop us from living the life that we came here to live. I was astounded. I immediately started using it on myself. Source and I use me as the ultimate guinea pig for all of this work, and it changed me. It changed me profoundly and deeply for the better. I'm so happy all of the time. I remember working in sequence on compassion because I was not a particularly compassionate person. The people around me might think I looked compassionate, but let me tell you, I could be judgmental and fault-finding with the best of them. And now I'm compassionate. And it was the Archangel Ariel that took me under her wings, so to speak, and really worked with me for about 9 months. And I am different. And then I began working on equanimity. And I'm still working on it. Lao Tzu and Buddha and Source have been working with me on equanimity. I was just in a major car accident on Thursday night where it's questionable whether or not my car will be totaled. I have no injuries whatsoever, no muscle difficulties, nor does my passenger. And the car may or may not be totaled. I hope it's not, because I love that car. But we were under protection. And I must tell you, I was completely equanimous. It was like, well, isn't that marvelous? I was in a car accident. Well, what did I learn from it? I learned that it's just a detail. So here is the last thing I would like to say to anyone watching this video. Your heart will tell you whether or not the Dancing with Source work is for you. Trust yourself. Inside of you, something may say, nope, this is not for me. And instead, for someone else, inside they may hear, this is what I have been looking for. if you hear that message or something like it, you can log on to Dancing with Source, onto the directory of Master Facilitators, and you can find people who are incredibly skilled in this work, who can help you have the experience of beginning to discover at the deepest level you can imagine who you really are. And unless you are pretty far along on your spiritual journey, that's probably going to be a lot different than what you think. And if you're one of those very rare individuals who feels called to learn about the Dancing with Source Mystery School, feel free to call me and talk to me directly, or to ask any of the Master Facilitators anything at all that you want to know. The last thing that I want to say to you is blessings to each and every one of you. I so honor you for where you are on your journey, coming into Earth and saying, I'm willing to be incarnated in a human body and take this sequence of incarnations and life experiences seriously. Took the greatest courage. You are so special for doing that. If you would like to learn how to do that with grace, greater grace than you have ever imagined, with joy, with a deep, deep peace, if you'd like to really find out who you really are, I invite you to check out Dancing with Source. Blessings, blessings from the very bottom of my heart.